Hey everybody, it's BigMayonnaze back on the sandwich. Today we're diving back into Tiny Bunny here. We're gonna pick up where we left off. Now, you guys might notice I'm not feeling 100% better here just yet. I've still got a pretty nasty cough here, so I'm gonna be doing what I can. But I don't quite remember where we left off at. I think it was the new chapter here, yeah. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates, who I will always have trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses, probably. I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning the bedroom of my parents was silent. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out. Oh God, this isn't good. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake anybody else, especially the peaceful sleeping Olia. I did my best to step on the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this, even in our old apartment. If my soles touched the space between floorboards, it counted as a stepping into lava. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry. Faster, faster. I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out of the cracks between the floorboards. I needed to watch my step to survive at any cost. Hippity hop, like frog jumping on molehills. Like a fairy, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. My appetite was like that of someone being led up the scaffold towards a guillotine. I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on two floorboards at the same time. Burnt to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly, the fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock ticked. I need to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. This darkness never fully left the house, not around here. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. Oh, there we go. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked up stars from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear this noose, afraid that I, being a total klutz that I am, could lose the key otherwise. The wind whizzed on the other side of the gate and invited me into my new life, toward dubious adventures, and tagged along like an old buddy, pushing me in the back. Wide shadows that pines throughout covered a third of the clearing. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar. I was squeezing through the thin firebreak, my hair ruffled up the back and hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of a tiny trail. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. Into this darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces with holes in the middle of their mouths. If I lost focus for even a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts screaming my name. But the dead can't answer the living. Or can they? A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school in his hands by now if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. The forest took a deep breath. With its giant lungs, the windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field now. Now, I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listening closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger, as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. A tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. The tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. "Who's there?" The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think I was going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either going mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road. I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail will shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge's supports bathed in a spring, tarry and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest, then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road, illuminated by sparse lamplights. I chased away bad thoughts and ran as fast as I could, from one circle of light to another, seeking protection from the electric lamps. Just like in that game, where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected." It's just, in this case, the protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing around outside its bounds. Then I noticed something remarkably eerie. In a place where light from an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a gluttural roar. It almost felt like its features deterred light. Its unnatural pose instilled fear. My eyes almost popped out from their sockets, as if I stood there blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. Oh, but the shadow didn't disappear, and even got closer. My insides were gripped with horror. I stepped back and almost fell into the snow pile. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice. "Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul?" Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here, between the forest and the dormant village? "Will you say something, dummy? A cat got your tongue? All right, I'll bite off your nose then. That'll teach you not to poke it in places that it doesn't belong." A girl stood just before me, judging from the voice in the silhouette, but I couldn't have even reprimanded myself for getting scared by a girl before noticing a gaping mouth under her hood with something dangerously shiny inside. I was stunned. From the cavity of her hood, a frighteningly real fox face was staring straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. A mask. It's just a girl with a fox mask. At least, that's what I wanted to think. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just going to school, and then you. What about me? Never seen a fox feed a dog? And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs. One of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably. "Sorry, I didn't mean to." After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, sniffed me out, and then started wagging its tail. I guess I still smelled of bologna that I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird. Girls in general. So you didn't mean to, huh? What's your name? I'm Anton. And you? And I'm not. Oh, God, I don't like those flickering eyes behind that mask. She's weird. Definitely has a couple screws loose. But she has a nice voice. My astonishment has turned into a mix of happiness and relief. This girl didn't know I was definitely human. Oh, I read that all wrong. This girl I didn't know was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. This foxy girl was, good. This is a game about furries, I didn't know. This foxy girl was walking through the darkness without a problem, and if I shuddered from every little sound, I could just walk away, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at the new place, I'll tell him that I befriended a talking fox. "Do you live around here? In the village?" The girl giggled and purred. She spun around so hard hem of her coat lifted up. No, dummy. Foxes don't live in villages. So, you live in the forest then? Have you been living under a rock? It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans, as long as they're foxes. Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask, paper mache with fur glued onto it. A dog reminded us of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge. Cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. The stray strolled toward me with mincing footsteps, with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox definitely treated to something, but it was probably still hungry. Why are you dressed like this so early in the morning? Going to a costume party? The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast, a real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. A moment of hesitation and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. And I couldn't help but just stand there as still as a stump until I heard her calm, melodic laughter. I don't know if I call that melodic. Hidden underneath the beastly mask. I wish you could have seen your own mask, sweetie. Did she say sweetie? I got embarrassed, went right up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once, when we went there with Dad, but it had patchy fur, was gray and skinny. But this girl was fierce, was a fiery color, furry, just like in fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers that were searching for the dog's treat stumbled upon something soft, a crumpled object. You'll see. The real beasts will wake up soon. You should ask them where they got their human faces. The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my finding in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created in the snow. The dog rushed to get out, wanting to get its treat. And the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed to cover even more thickly. All the neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know. So, are you going to school? Oh my, you are just a real dummy. Don't you get it? Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't seem to stop mocking me, calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weirdo and her stupid dog. Why are you so mean? Don't answer if you don't want to. It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me toward the dark figure. The mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn. Oh, stop pouting. Look here. Zolka took a liking to you. The dog was digging through the snow with its sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of nearby houses, at its timbered front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light. And maybe someone else too. I went red again, like a boiled crayfish this time. Crawfish, we all know what that word is. Is she talking about herself or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from this girl. I cleared my throat before asking. And who's that person? I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in those winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding an object in her jaws. A mitten. Could it be the one I found in the forest? What was it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep. A certain missing boy immediately came to mind. Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagined the scene, silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe even save my family. I remembered my birthday, when our parents promised to take me and Olya to Disneyland in Paris. But instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding to take me to the promised amusement park. That was the first time when Mom and Dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love, and take them to Disneyland. On the night Vova had disappeared, I think I saw someone looking like you dancing under my window. It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out. Ah, that got you worried? For yourself or for someone else? Olia, as soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened, and a cold sweat steamed down my spine. Well then, listen closely, a boy named Anton. This is a big, scary forest. The fox girl stepped forward menacingly. And I'm not its only tenant. The other beasts already know about you. Beware. We'll come again tonight. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking. When you and your parents will be fast asleep, we'll sneak really close and dance. Macarena! Huh? Aye, Macarena! That's my face. Oh, look at you. Your mouth is agape, Tosha. He saw me near his window at night. Yeah, right. Are you, by any chance, a dimwit? Nobody would let me go outside that late. Children go missing here, you know. I touched the plastic frame in my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death. Hey, why don't you stop fondling your glasses? I was also nearsighted once. Listen to me and maybe you'll become smarter. Remember, what do they call foxes? Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her. Hey, what did you... I'm sorry. Her laughter was akin to the jingle of a pair of silver bells. Just pulling your leg. Of course we're cunning. If you're agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, then I'll help you look for your Vova. There's a reason why you're doing it, right? I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming. I know why children have been swarming our forests recently. Sometimes you can find a lot of interesting stuff there. One day I saw a huge pile of candy once, and I swam in it until my jaws cramped. A pile of candy? I couldn't deduce whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time. Boo, so wary. Well, what will you say to this then? Oh, she held out her hand in a furry mitten. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm. In the city where I used to live, sweets like this were sold at markets or in kiosks. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasures. A familiar name was on it. Turbo. A triangular fox face poked her nose towards me. Take some. My pockets are full of these. Yeah, why not? I accepted the treat, catching a whiff of the girl's smell. Fur, fireworks, and citrus. The smell of holidays. My fingers tingled when I was carefully unwrapping the gum. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils. And something else, something unfamiliar, but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my teeth went a bit numb. I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. I looked at the Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy in my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still stunned. This... Now do you see what can be found in the forest? Still, I wouldn't go there alone if I were you. You get so flustered over simple bubblegum after all. Imagine what would happen if you find a travel case worth of these. It'll surely blow your mind. Unusual treats, just like everything else about her. I carefully hid... Don't like that laugh. I carefully hid the insert in my bag as if I was putting a rare butterfly in a can. The fox girl giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on Monday morning. Oh, who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer it anyway, or she'd just lie. I really wanted to see what was behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath wasn't just a simple young girl. What if Vova also found a snow pile with sweets and is now rolling in it? Actually, what if he decided to stay in the forest? He must be so cold without his second mitten then. We didn't tell her about the mitten. The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches. Or what if something happened to him along the way? Something terrible. The forest reacted to her words, became alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears, just like curious beast. The fox girl pierced me with her eyes once again. Wild beasts? You find that scary? Well, I don't know. He doesn't know. Oh my, I have befriended a dunce. I didn't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded nice. My grades are good. Really now? Will you come with me, good grades, Anton? We'll find your Vova and you'll be able to ask him what he found deep in the forest. As long as you're with me, nothing can hurt you in the forest. You'll see. Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind. I don't believe you. Do you take me for a liar? Whatever. You're just like everyone else. The girl sounded hurt, although I didn't know if she was being genuine about it. She turned around as if she had immediately lost all interest in me. The gum felt bitter now. I remembered my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind to me. Please, don't get mad. Foxes can also be nice, like in fairy tales. I just need to know what kind of fox you are. That should answer your question, Anton. The girl giggled, hiding the nose of her mask in her hands. Then follow me into the forest and you'll get to know me. But not right now, when it gets bright. I mean, your whole body is shaking, you poor thing. I don't want you to get a stroke. Hey, let me accompany you to school. After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in to try to grab the piece of handwear that had almost ran away from me. Well, if we're going in the same direction. We went toward the school and the lost dawn. Here and there, the lights came in the windows of the houses we passed, as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signs. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains. Dogs let out occasional barks. Spirals of gray smoke arose from chimneys. TV bustled and dishes clanged in the kitchens. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber while carefully treading in the snowy wheel trails. I walked in the left one and she took the right one. The dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she stayed silent all the way to the school, as if playing with me some game that only she was privy to. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on its nose. I was the first to break the silence. So, what's your name? Here it comes. Names, names, names. You people always need to put labels on everything. What name would you like to give a fox like me? I don't know, but I've read about Alisa the fox. You know what? I don't mind. I'll be Alisa. I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around as if looking for an answer from the dog or from the dark sky devoid of dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. Those are cool kids. You know, those are definitely okay people, you know? People just hanging out in front of the school, smoking cigarettes. The school's outline was already in our sight, a giant brick box stuck in the endless night. Lights in its windows didn't bode me well for me. The warden trees were guarding the schoolyard. Screams, childish laughter, and someone's whistle tore up the silence. I went with Mom when we were just moved in, and the place looked cozy at that time. Empty corridors smelled of polish and puffy white snow outside. The second time I came alone to get the books and just kept imagining my peers rolling down the railings, grade schoolers running to the library, and teachers marching down the corridor with the air of self-importance around them. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance, and the track pants and wool caps perched on their foreheads. Slavs. Their appearance destroyed the last of their hopes for a cozy school. Their stingy eyes and teeth yellow from nicotine, their smirks, all of it had the same gloomy effect as the cloudy winter morning. Absorbed by my thoughts, I completely forgot about my companion. I'll wait for you at the backyard after school. Near the hanged man. Near what? She just ignored my question. Don't be late. I hesitated, blowing hot and cold again. My mom always said that when I would have trouble choosing between two options. Thinking about Mom helped me reply. I'm going straight home after school. Well, Antosha, I'm going to let you off the hook. But the others will creep up to you with their smiles and sink their teeth into you. Won't be able to shake them off as easily. Remember... The fox opened her mouth with a wide yawn. That's not a girl. What kind of trick is this? Someone running in the distance called out my name. I instinctively turned around. A huge snowball whizzed past my shoulder and hit the dog. It whimpered and ran toward the spring. That poor dog. The darkness devoured it. The fox girl was nowhere to be seen. She dissolved into frosty air. Or was she hiding in my shadow? I gulped. I swallowed the gum. Unlucky. After taking a deep breath, I went toward the school, toward the cutlets and dough, toward the light raining down onto the snow. Whose nest is this, I wonder? A thieving magpie? Then it probably has all sorts of shiny things in it. Pieces of colorful glass, bottle caps, polished coins, or child braces. What else we got? Wonder if we keep doing this, we'll eventually die. What else do we got? Car. I'm not too interested. Let's just go. I could hear muffled voices behind the doors, saw blinking lamps. Darkness creeped along the windows, and I felt like the school was drifting in an open space like a lonely, lost spaceship. After going up to the second floor, I noticed a crowd around the notice board. Everyone was taking part in a lively discussion. I moved closer and took a look at something everyone was interested in. Through a wall of backpacks, there was a piece of paper with something printed on it and glued to the left of the notice board. Ah. Vova. Oh. I was just sitting here reading this. I didn't know. Child missing. Vova Matyukin was his name. A fourth grader. On that grainy print, Vova looked dead, with a black mouth and dark, empty eye sockets. Could it be that darkness dwelling deep in the forest invaded his pores and mutilated his face? A plastic toy gun couldn't protect him from the whispering branches and the howling wind. Empty eyes of the lost boy pierced through my soul as if pleading. Unable to meet his stare, I turned around and rushed to the window, took a seat on the windowsill. The corridor was slowly filling up with children, in groups of few. Nobody paid any mind. In the darkness of school, toilets, child voices were hammering a nursery rhyme. For the fox and for the bear, bunny tasty meals prepare. I turned my head toward them, trying to get a better look at their features, but then my attention was stolen by a loud clicking sound. A female teacher marched down the corridor with her chin raised up high. Her heels were hitting the floor like miniature hooves. A girl was trailing behind her every step. She was also looking pompous, stopping along the way and whispering some secret into her friend's ear. She was probably a class rep since she was carrying an attendance register book. Ekaterina, please take this. The teacher opened the classroom door and the crowd of children swarmed in, screaming, pushing. Out of all of them, a tall, red-headed fat boy caught my attention. His face was full of blisters. He looked like the insides of a pomegranate. A bad feeling risen up the hair on the back of my head. I've seen boys like him before, unsettled eyes, cackling laughter. The girl, who was a smaller copy of the teacher, warned the boy with a wave of her hand and entered the room, though through the clearing in the crowd. Some other guy stood in the way of the crowd, and the redhead immediately shoved him. "Move your legs, moron!" The boy flew headfirst, flailing his hands, trying to keep his balance. The fatso burst out laughing, and a couple of kids joined his nasty cackling. Their laughter sounded like someone was snipping with huge garden scissors. The classroom sucked all the kids in. The corridor stood empty. I wanted to grow roots and stay on the windowsill. Just a handful of lampposts outside were battling the darkness, writhing like fluorescent fish in the black ocean. Maybe I can still run away. Go outside and dissolve into the dark. Imagine myself running through snow, how it squeaks under my boots, and how I'm becoming lighter and lighter with every step. The ringer's trill blew the illusion away. I tore myself from the window with great effort. Then I took a couple of deep breaths, trying to at least calm down my mad pulse, and entered the classroom. The prim teacher looked at me over the frame of her glasses, clearly annoyed. I'm the transfer student. I was told to come here. The snowy forest trail was winding in front of my eyes. The pines rustled, but it didn't sound predatory anymore. She buried herself in the register and flicked through the pages. Your last name? Petrov. Ah. Why are you mumbling there? Say it clearly. Petrov. You're not on the list. She measured me with her long, heavy stare, as if trying to see if I was lying. I wanted to sink through the floor. Hazy faces observed all of that from the left. The classroom breathed and snorted in unison, like a living organism, like a dangerous beast. Are you sure? I don't have you on my register. My knees chose the worst time to start shaking, and I felt dizzy. I clutched my fists so hard my knuckles became white. They told me to come to the classroom 204 to ask for Lilia Pavlovna, class 6C. Apparently everyone in the classroom took my words for some sort of joke because they were all laughing. What's wrong with this school? The classroom fell silent. The kids hid their smirks for a better occasion. Why do we hire so many interns? They all know how to put lipstick all over their bulging lips, but when it comes to real problems, I have to solve everything. How did they send you here without any proper paperwork? Ugh. We've had the same thing happen so many times already. Wait here, I'll be back. After I have a little chat with them. The teacher flew past me, mumbling something to herself in righteous anger, and I was left standing at the center of the classroom. Like a convict in front of a firing squad, I lowered my gaze, feeling the mocking stares from all around the classroom directed at me. They prickled my skin, danced on it like laser lights. Whoa. Once again, I imagined running far away from this place, fighting the clawing wind, soaring high above the pines in one long jump. With the wind in my back as my only companion, the eyes of my future classmates were asking, this new boy, is he one of us or an outsider? Someone whispered something and stifled laughter rolled through the classroom. Wipe the board. It was easy to guess who was the main prankster here. Hey, Four Eyes. Are you not only blind but also deaf? I said wipe the board. My knees weren't the only shaking part of my body anymore. I was trembling from head to toe, and I prayed for the teacher to come back sooner. My prayers were answered by the powers that be. And what should I do with you now? Where will you sit? Oh, well, you can sit with Semyon, I guess. He's alone anyway. No way! The fatso put his backpack on the seat beside him in defiance, scratched his belly and smirked. Are you back to your old tricks? Should I call your grandmother here again? The classroom was silent. And what's she gonna do? I'll be the one to do something if she doesn't. Put away your backpack now. Semyon didn't move a muscle. He started studying the portraits of riders on the wall, looking bored. I needed to do something, to resolve this somehow, to save myself. I cleared my throat and continued in a stifled voice that sounded nothing like me. I can sit in the last row. I think there's a free seat. The teacher snorted loudly. She looked at me and then at Semyon, and then back to me. Fine, go there for now. And you, Baburin, I'll have a talk with you later. Come to me after class. You'll be on cleaning duty, got it? Semyon forced out a twisted smile. Juicy pimples were growing on the tip of his nose, ripe for the taking. I don't like the way you talk about other people, man. I walked carefully, afraid to stumble and fall, causing another outburst of laughter from everyone. I took my seat at the back, at the last table where I was met with a pile of old posters. The outcasts took their seats, and the class was ready to start. Now, this is settled. Let's start the class. Today's theme is traditions of Russia, of Russian and international literature, and the Zashenkos don't lie. The fatso turned back to me. His stare informed me of the coming days, weeks, and months of bullying. "I've got eyes on you," said his watery look. Just gotta hit that kid first. Ugh. After a couple of periods, I'd already noticed a huge yellow spit stain on my notebook. Then, at the cafeteria, the Semyon accidentally spilled his glass of compote on me. And then, he flailed his hands around after exiting the toilet so some of the liquid from his hands would get on me. Just before the final period for today, Semyon pushed me into a buzzing crowd of girls from our class. Oh, that's not a good way to go. But far from the worst way of bullying. They made way, cursing, but I couldn't hold my balance and ended up ramming my face into the girl I took for the class rep before, right into her chest. Ow! I immediately stepped back, dying from embarrassment. I'm sorry, are you okay? Then she suddenly put her arms up on her hips. Will you look at him? Groping me in front of everyone. I'll tell my mother. They'll expel you, pervert. There was some sort of sadistic pleasure in her eyes, as if she was a child who was about to put a lit-up match to the chafer beetle. I don't know what that is. I didn't mean to. He pushed me. We all saw that, you know. No blind among us. She stared at my glasses while showing me a creepy smile. I started to fume from the inside, but Semyon's laughter cooled my head. I pushed you? You sure? He swaggered up to me, enveloping me in the smell of sunflower seeds and rotting teeth, and then pushed me to the ground. Like this, huh? What you gonna do now? The bully towered over me as if saying, come on, hit me. Let me see you try. Oh yeah, fight back for sure. You can't let your bullies push you around. Otherwise, they're just gonna keep going. And even if you see someone else getting bullied, you gotta step up. You gotta make sure that you and the people that are around you don't give in to this kind of punishment. Otherwise, it never will stop. Listen, you. My throat went dry, my lips were moving on their own, my voice was akin to a stifled squeal. Semyon wore a mocking smile. Go on, Four Eyes. Why'd you stop? We're all waiting. If you ever touch me again, Semyon slowly stuck out a finger and poked my forehead. I did, so what? If you ever do it again... Here. Once more. And again. And again. And again. He was poking me with his middle finger so hard that my head tilted backward. I must not cry, or I'll be done for. What will a wimp like you do to me? My vision went blurry. My soles tore off from the floor. I rushed forward and threw a random punch without looking. There you go. What I saw when I opened my eyes was beautiful and horrifying at the same time. Semyon was holding back his ear and blinking in amazement. Was I the first person to rebel against his absolute rule?
Stop it.
I needed to run, but I was already surrounded by his cronies. Lilia Pavlovna. Petrov just hit Baburia. Semyon's cheeks grew even redder, and his pimples even whiter than the heads of larvae. Like heads of larvae. But a smile flashed on his face. That was only noticed among his comrades. He got really close to me. The smell of rotten teeth washed over me. You are fucking done. His voice was evil and dangerous, like someone tore off the lid from a kettle with boiling fat. I was waiting to get hit, counting the thumps of my heart and guessing where his fist would go. The solar plexus, the jaw, the nose. But he just turned around and walked off. A thought, cold and sober and extremely rational, popped up in my head. I'm going to get killed today. I was late to leave the school after classes on purpose. Semyon didn't attend last period, so I was hopeful. What if he decided to dodge the cleaning duty and ran home, forgetting all about me? I heaved a sigh of relief, like someone on death row whose execution was delayed by a day. But I didn't let myself forget his tone, his vengeful gaze, and his scary electrified smirk. While the other students were leaving the school, laughing loudly, I was pretending to skim through my books near a window. I was staring outside, nervous. Semyon was nowhere to be found in the front yard or near the school gate. I didn't really believe I was so lucky, so I decided to be extra cautious and stayed for some time in the corridor that was gradually getting less crowded. All of the bustle moved to the first floor. There was a skeleton peeking out of a biology classroom. Some jokester put a cap with the American condor on its head. The sound of running water were coming from the bathroom. I was the only person left in the whole school. I'm not alone. A sudden thought came to mind. I remembered the missing boy. His portrait was on the notice board near the schedule. I remembered his smile, him looking at me, and the fact that he's most likely dead already. Hello? I shuddered and turned around. At first, my eyes stumbled upon the black violin case. Then I noticed a girl from my class was holding it. She sat in the first row of the second column. I could swear I caught her looking at me a couple of times, and I was sneaking glances at her myself. Sometimes it just feels nice to look at something pretty. The spring, the sky, or a girl that's not in the crowd that laughs at Semyon's jokes. And she wasn't whispering the dirty laundry of other people to Katya. She spent all the breaks just like me, staying in the classroom, or looking in the window, or drawing something in her green notebook. Hello! I turned red and pretended I was studying the pattern of the wooden floor. It was cool, the way you hit him. It was just an accident. Almost. I started shoving books in my backpack to at least put something in my hands. Semyon wasn't like that before. He also transferred here recently. His grandma told me that it almost felt like he went mad. Even the upperclassmen fear Semyon. Did you know that? But you're different. You're brave. See? This is how you get girls, everybody. You fight back, you show your mettle, and you don't back down. I mumbled in reply. Yeah, right. Me? Brave? A hero that has been standing around in the hallway to avoid a beating? The girl looked at me with her clear, attentive eyes. Do you live over the river? In that wooden house? Yeah. Must be scary living there. After all those children died in that house fire, right? And then the house just miraculously was restored the next day? Crazy, isn't it? And you also have to cross the forest. I wouldn't be able to do that. I shivered at the mention of the forest. I thought of intertwining branches, of a snake-like trail, of endless darkness that spread like mold across the crooked trees. So I straight up lied. It's not that scary. What's so scary about it for you? She smiled after a brief pause, as if brushing off a daydream. Well, actually, never mind. My name is Polina, by the way. I'm Anton. I already knew that. Hey, Anton. She stumbled as if trying to decide whether she could continue. What are you doing after school? My chest felt prickly after her innocent question, yet somehow it felt pleasant. Nothing much. I stumbled, and I didn't finish my sentence. Okay. Alisa's predatory smile flashed in front of my eyes. Her playful eyes and the slits of the mask were probably just a product of my imagination, though. What if that fox girl's waiting for me after school? Or was it another one of her weird jokes? I wonder if she's hiding a big red tail under her coat. I suddenly got covered with beads of sweat, like after a PE class. I wanted to take a shower, as if just thinking of the foxy girl made me dirty, soiled my clothes, and lured me into the forest's embrace. I have a violescent. Yeah, you know what? We're rolling with it. I have a violescent, and then I'll be free. My grandpa hired me a private tutor. Our music teacher is a violinist, and he doesn't have anyone to teach here, except for me. She waved her hand in the air, imitating the movement of a bow on violin strings. I could almost hear the music. It chased Alisa out of my head. I looked at Polina's lips, catching her every word, and was frozen from the unusual sensations. They were warm, soothing, and tingly. It felt like I was very small, and the feelings were immense, and they couldn't fit inside of me. They say there's a serial killer on the loose in the village. Normally, Grandpa would escort me home from school, but he's been sick lately. I snuck a glance at Vova's photo. His eye wells were studying me. His lips were wearing black lipstick. Just like the portrait on a gravestone. I mean, I'm not a coward, it's just... I think I'll be safer together with you. Will you go home with me, Anton? There it was. Finally, everything that I read about the adventure books. Everything that I dreamt of was seeping into my life. A mysterious crime, a beautiful stranger, and a heroic duel. A duel. Think of Semyon's instantly sobered me up. Returned me back to Earth, and it started shaking under my feet like a deck of ship. If only I could rise to the occasion in front of Polina. Because no matter how brave I was trying to act, it was obvious for both of us that I wouldn't be able to stand a chance against a big guy like that. And him knocking me out won't even be the worst of it. The worst part is that Polina will see all of it. And she'll laugh at me, just like everyone else. No, I don't need anyone else to see me in such a shameful state. I doubt I'll be able to today. You know, Semyon is waiting for me outside. I need to deal with him, one-on-one, like a man. Nonsense. Polina brushed off some hair from her forehead, and I sensed a weak aroma of blackberry. Polina was like water. When you were thirsty, you gulp it down and still wanted more. I remembered the summer evenings at the country house, the fire's pungent smoke, the berries hanging over our fence from the neighbors, and a soft cover of pine needles in my soles. Those few peaceful days when it felt completely safe. My mom resting in the hammock, my dad putting meat on a skewer. Could I have foreseen the upcoming catastrophe in the crackle of the coals, in our parents' laughs, in the smell of the fleeting July? Could I have seen how fragile that world really was? Do you really think that Savage will give you a fair fight? He'll just swarm you with his friends, without giving you a chance to catch your breath. Polina suddenly flashed a devious smile. But if we go together, they'll be put off. I'm not only the first violin in this village, I'm also a girl. We know that. I've heard from a delinquent that I know that I'll never attack someone when there's a girl around. Can you imagine? They have this weird code of honor. A delinquent, you know? I thought I worried. Is he better than me? Taller? More handsome? Oh, I have to go to music class. She made a couple of steps and stopped. Amazing. Polina didn't look like those beauties from the magazine posters, or the actress from the movies. But in the flickering light of the ceiling lamps, she looked much more alluring. Can you play anything? My parents bought me a guitar a couple of years ago. I immediately remembered my meager attempts at making music. Change. We're all waiting for change. Tsoy's song echoed in my thoughts, and my first desire to change something. What is this? Glossary. Oh, okay, that's just like world stuff. That guitar got lost somewhere, as if refusing to move to the old house near the forest. I think my parents gave it away to someone that needed it more. I don't, sadly. A pity. Oh well, I'll be going. Bye. Her shout was captured by the loud echo. All right, we've been going at this for, what, 53 minutes, so I think that's long enough. God, I've got so many theories running around right now. Is the serial killer real? Is the fox girl real? Is that just the figments of my horrible anxiety or schizophrenia, you know, coming to fruition in front of us? You know, my fear of being alone has created this person that now journeys with me. You know, it's this multiple personality disorder now. You know, is this a beautiful mind all over again? And Polina, right? Is she truly this nice? Is she truly this wonderful of a person? Is this another personality that's come to fruition? Or do you guys think she's real and maybe her grandfather is the serial killer and she lures people back to her house, new people that come into the village, so her grandfather can kill them and drop them in the forest? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you guys have any theories. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys back in Tiny Bunny.